So decades ago, during my first year of college, I had a very hard time emotionally. I was racked with self-doubt. I was trying to figure things out. It wasn't easy for me. And overall, it was just a difficult year. And I remember that the people around me, my family and my friends, did their best to be supportive. They said, "You're doing great. You have so many resources. You're going to be fine." And while on some level I appreciated everything that they were saying and what they were trying to do, I wasn't in a space where I could hear what they were saying, much less process what they were saying. And if you, like me, grew up watching Peanuts on TV, you know that Peanuts, which is about children and about their world, has a way of showing what the voices of adults sounded like. So whenever there's an adult in the Peanut show, the adults sound like wah, 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 wah. And that's how everybody around me sounded as they were trying to support me and to lift me up. Now, if that was true of me, and let's face it, I wasn't facing trauma. I was a suburban kid dealing with confidence issues, admittedly without the comfort of an iPhone, coming to terms with that reality, then imagine how difficult it is for people who are facing genuine trauma, for people who are in situations that are extraordinarily challenging, when you are not ready to hear the people around you offering their support. You are not ready to hear. And by hear, I mean to absorb. I mean to truly internalize and be able to act upon the support that the people are giving you. Now, I'm going to go back not just decades, but thousands of years to the story that is described in the Torah, and that is that the children of Israel were enslaved. And the Egyptians were cruel to them, and they imposed bondage in a way that was oppressive. And God appears, and God says, "I am the same God." He tells Moses, "I care about this people. I have a relationship with this people. Vegam ani shamati et na'akat b'nei Israel. I heard the groaning of this people." In the Torah, hearing is not just about literally hearing. It is also about absorbing, about internalizing, about understanding. And so God says, "I have heard them." And the Torah tells us, "V'lo sham'u el Moshe." They didn't hear Moses saying, "God is behind you. You're going to be all right." Mikotze ruach, because they had shortness of spirit. Ume avodah kasha, and because the work was just too unbearable. Now it's interesting. The medieval commentator Nachmanides, who lived in Girona, in what is now Catalonia, part of Spain, he said, it isn't that the people didn't believe in God. It isn't that the people didn't believe that Moses was representing God and that they would help, but rather they couldn't pay attention because of impatience of spirit. And I'm going to read you what he wrote. It's like a person whose soul is grieved because of his misery and who doesn't want to live another moment in his suffering, even if he knows that things will be okay. When we're not ready, we're not ready. Suffering can be soul-crushing. Whatever self-doubts we have, it can enlarge those self-doubts. And when people are oppressing us, it can add to the soul-crushing nature of our suffering. It wears us down. It is hard to listen and to absorb and to really take to heart that we're going to be okay, and that things eventually are going to be better. So how do we get there? How do we get to that place from the suffering to the beginnings of our own redemption? First of all, the people around really do help. Even if we are not fully ready at a certain point to hear it, we are noticing on some level, maybe it is subconscious, that there are people out there beyond us who actually care. The great philosopher Abraham Joshua Heschel commented on the words Al Levavcha. We're supposed to take God's teachings and put it on our hearts. So he had a teacher who would teach him things that he wasn't ready for. He would teach him things that were more sophisticated than he at the time could internalize. And he would say to his teacher, "Why are you telling me this? I don't get it." And the teacher said, "I'm putting the words on your heart so that eventually they will be able to seep in." So the people around us do help. And then, secondly, you start to gain strength when you see and feel yourself succeeding. For me, that first year in college, experiencing my own small steps towards success, that helped. That helped me to turn the corner. And then, finally, there was a connection between the people trying to help and me finally ready. It's like a dance. It's like a tango between the person who is suffering and the people who love and mean well and are trying to support. I just read the book Hostage by Elisha Rabbi, one of the hostages who was released. I urge you to read it. It's a short book. You can read it in a day or so. He was captured in his early 50s, and a number of those who he was held captive with were in their early 20s. And he spoke in particular about one of them, Alon Ohel, who he described as very, very sensitive. And Sharabi said, "I need to be like a father to him. I need to help him to find his strength in this incredibly difficult, oppressive environment." And he helped Alon Ohel to find strength. But Alon Ohel needed to do it himself. He needed to hear, to internalize that he himself had the resources necessary. Now, remarkably, when Sharabi was released, it was revealed that Alon was not going to be released. And they hugged each other, and Alon Ohel started sobbing. He said, "What am I going to do without you?" He didn't know how much longer he would have to remain in captivity after his mentor, his father-like support, was leaving. And Elisha Rabbi said to Alon Ohel, "You have everything it takes to survive." And Alon Ohel carried that with him as part of his strength until he, thankfully, was released. Moving from a difficult place to a better place, it is a dance between those trying to help and those who are being helped, and the person being helped being able to hear that which is being said and to find their own strength. This occurs individually. This occurs when people are part of a larger oppressive circumstance. Right now, we are seeing once again the people of Iran that are trying to rise up against a homicidal, sadistic regime. And they are finding that strength. And as they are able to hear that life can be better for them, we need to do our best to hear them, to hear their suffering, to find whatever ways we can to support the trauma that they are experiencing and to support them as they find their voice. And I want to add, because circumstances abound all over the world, as a rabbi, as a human being, as somebody who values Torah, as somebody whose grandparents came from a country that was dangerous to try to seek refuge and opportunity here in the United States, that I want to be supportive of all those who are trying to do the same thing here in the United States. Not those who are violent, not those who have committed violent crimes, but those who are simply trying to find their inner voice to get themselves and their families to a place of refuge and opportunity. We're reading the Passover story now, but I'll conclude by saying we're not at Passover yet. We'll be there in a few months. But what do we say on Passover? We thank God for bringing us me'avdut lecherut, from bondage to freedom, me'afela le'ora, from darkness to light. There isn't a straight path from bondage to freedom or from darkness to light. It is complicated. It is a few steps forward and a few steps back, and sometimes we fall on our faces. It involves a collaboration between the one who is suffering and the one who cares enough to reach out. And it hinges on Shemu'ah, which is beyond just hearing and beyond just listening. It has to do with deep understanding. So I pray that those of us who are suffering in darkness will find the strength to understand the reality of the light that is within us and that awaits us. And may those who want to help have the decency to understand the role that we can play to start to shine that light. Shabbat